All right, and we are live, and my name is Terry Thompson. I'm the host of Unbreakable Stories, along with my co-host here, Bonnie. And tonight we are going to learn how to get rid of anxiety. That's right. You have those little moments within your life that, man, they just stress you out. You are super high strung. You're anxious. You're ready to, you're ready to like do all kinds of different things and this, that, and the other. I myself, I get anxious. I have anxiety. I have stress as a high performer. It's not all roses and rainbows and pink unicorns and pansies and stuff like that. At times, we do have a little bit of anxiety. So we're going to give you some tips, tools, and techniques tonight on how you can overcome anxiety. And once again, we're going to give you a few tips, tools, techniques, and resources, but use at your discretion. Whatever works best for you, try something out. And I just want to give that quick disclaimer because we all do different things differently. I do different things differently. Some work, some doesn't. Bonnie does different things differently. Some work, some doesn't. It's just a matter of taking it in, trying it out, figuring out what works best for you, and then continue taking action. So Bonnie, I'm excited. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a really awesome, um, creative, and just like I want to say productive, but it was a different kind of productive today. I was
Mm.
working on some new material, adding a landing page and whatnot to my website. I've got a new program that's going to be coming out, specifically helping people tackle social anxiety and
Mhm.
get back to life and work and whatnot after, especially after COVID. Um, and so yeah, it's just been a nice flow day. Let's put it that way. It's your word.
I love it, and today was one of those days. So I actually drove into the office today, and we actually was looking at one of our courses. So we had like two full rooms of people, and plus we had people online as well too. And
Oh,
that all goes into this course design review. So that's once a year we take a look at. We have 8 courses, so I write 4 courses. They're all accredited. They're worth college credits, and we did that today. So we took a look at one of the largest course that we have, and man, it was like a 2 hour long discussion with quite a few people, and it was good. It was a good long lengthy discussion, but it's one of those things to where um you have to get those minds in a room, and sometimes when you get around like minds, you get around big minds, different minds, and this, that, and the other. Man, it can cause a little bit of anxiety. It can cause a little bit of this, that, and the other going on. And as we are talking through this whole thing, it's like, man, it all smoothed out, man. It all worked out in the end. So that was kind of my day heading into the office doing that course design review thing. And I'm excited because tomorrow it's soccer day. It's soccer day tomorrow. My daughter's going to go kick the crap out of some soccer balls, and we're going to go have fun tomorrow. And I'm going to have a victory day with my son.
that's awesome. Yeah, the first thing I actually thought when you mentioned all of those people in one room is uh, I know there's a lot of decision makers in what you do, and then you've got the collaborators, and you've got the content people who like tell you what should be in the course, and the people who are approving what should be in the course, and the people who are approving the people who are approving the people. Like it's this long string. I'm so glad that for me that would be that feels well, it feels over the top, but I understand why
Yeah.
it's being done. But it would just be like extra stress. I don't know if it would be anxiety inducing for me, but it would definitely feel like a lot of unnecessary stress having to run one thing past multiple different people and trying to get them to all agree. It's kind of like where I'm looking. I saw like in my mind like an old like 80s or 90s movie where you've got one of those boardroom tables that like you can barely see the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of like 70, 80, 90-year-old, men like not agreeing on whatever it is that they're supposed to be agreeing on. I don't know. So that was kind of my vision when you were explaining that. It's like,
I get what movie was that from? It was like harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
yeah,
What movie
that
was
was
that?
wow. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness!
Whoever knows what it is,
It was
comment
like
down in the
it was like a Monty Python movie. It was like oh my goodness,
wow.
it was a Monty Python movie, old classic Monty Python movie. It was like harumph, 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 harumph. Hey, I didn't get a
Yeah.
harumph out of that guy.
Yeah. And here's what's funny about that is so I was watching those movies in college in my first year or two of college. But at that point they were already considered old classic movies.
Oh
So
yeah.
like, and that was 25 plus years ago.
Oh yeah. It was a long time ago for me too. At least 30 years ago, I'm talking.
Yeah.
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 But man, so let's dive right on in. We're going to talk about how to get rid of anxiety. You know, it's one of those things to where as leaders, as entrepreneurs, authors, people just in general, you know, life has gotten tough, especially within the last couple of years. And man, we've really seen anxiety, we've seen stress, we've seen struggles, we've seen hardships, we've seen all these things definitely within the last couple of years escalate. You know, we've seen marriages kind of fall apart. We've seen families fall apart. We've seen a lot of these different things, businesses kind of fall apart. We've seen a lot of that. And it's one of those things to where people look towards other people or they look towards other things in order to cope with that or to deal with it or to mask it or whatever, you know, label that we want to put on these things. So we're going to dive into that. So Bonnie, what has been your experience within the last couple of years when dealing with anxiety? And, you know, before we get to the tips, tools, techniques, and resources, what has been some things that you've experienced within the last couple of years?
So the last couple of years for me was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
My big struggle with anxiety actually happened before COVID was a thing. And in 2017, after struggling with anxiety and depression for most of my life, all the way back to childhood, I finally got to a point where, for me, medicating it wasn't working. And I decided to kind of leave that in the dust and was left to deal with the aftermath. So I guess not left, I chose to find new ways to deal with, cope with, manage. And at the time, I thought that I was never, ever, ever going to be able to feel calm or relaxed, like ever, because that's what I was basically kind of brainwashed to believe, that I needed medication in order to feel calm at all. And so I kind of set out on this journey to find tools and techniques that were going to help me not only feel calm, but not like live in constant fear and anxiety, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time COVID came around, I probably reacted a little differently to COVID than a lot of people. Being that I'm high risk and that things kind of escalated super quickly and nobody really knew what was going on, I actually felt a real sense of calm when everybody was told to stay home. Because for me, being high risk and not wanting to have constant exposure by like my husband going in and out of work and being around lots of people and the kids going in and out of school and being around lots of people and bringing it home. For me, I felt like a sense of calm when everything shut down. And I know that's not the experience for most people, but it was, for me, it was just like, okay, everybody that I love is home and they're safe and we're going to figure this thing out, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But then of course came like, online school, and my husband was home from work and hadn't been home for work, for a long time. And so it was managing, and then I have 2 adult children. One was finishing up high school. So it was starting to manage all of those different personalities. So it was, for me, also an opportunity to teach everybody around me what I had been learning and studying for the past couple of years about how to reduce anxiety.
Now I have a question, because I know that how I dealt with this, and I want to touch on the point of education, because I truly believe that, the face of education is changing. We've talked about this, and, and us as authors, as entrepreneurs, I truly believe that we're going to be at the forefront of changing that education as it is evolving, because it's not only changing, it's evolving. We're getting a lot of these tools, these techniques, all these different ways in which to distribute education. But I know, I remember a couple of years ago, our school systems, they almost shut down. Like, they was just like, what are we going to do? Let's get online. Let's get the kids. We're going to do this, but we really need the help of the parents. That was stressful. Like, I was just through the roof of like, man, if I have to teach you if I have to show you how to teach, I don't need you to show me how to parent, and it was just one of those things to where my anxiety went through the roof, and I had phone call after phone call, and I was talking to people, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to calm down. I need to understand that
Yeah.
they're also dealing with some stress. So for me, that was empathy. And I know that you and I have talked about empathy, and I love the fact that you've really showed me what it's like to have empathy within the last year, a couple of years, or at least the last year. So let's talk about that. Having stress, having anxiety, but yet having the empathy to understand that we might not understand what the other people are going through. What are your thoughts on that?
It's huge. Empathy paired with compassion. Um, and it's interesting because I tend to be like, I'm a person who doesn't sugarcoat and I don't BS people. And people
Mhm.
don't usually think of that as a match for someone who's empathetic and compassionate.
Mhm.
But it's because I have empathy and I'm compassionate and I care about the people that I'm surrounded by that I don't sugarcoat and I don't BS. Now, you can do both of those things without being an a-hole about it. Like there's a way to give somebody something straight and still be, do it kind in a kind manner.
Mhm.
Um, and yes, because our school basically halted. There was nothing for probably a week or two, maybe. I honestly don't remember at this point because I was ramping up a totally new business at this point because people were coming to me asking me if I could make masks, and so I was learning how to sew. And
Mm.
so it was honestly for me again, I took it as, hey, this is a break. This is a chance for me to focus on what I need to because I'm not worrying about what he's doing for school. And they did some super basic like um, Google Classroom and YouTube videos from the teachers for a couple of weeks. But we were so close to the end of the school year that I think it was maybe a few weeks of this kind of craziness with the school. And for me, it was, I'm going to be honest, I kind of took the attitude like, what the F are they going to do if these kids don't get this schoolwork done? Like, or don't do things exactly what they're supposed to do. Like, I was really kind of in a, not apathetic, but um, we're going to do the best we can.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be compassionate and empathetic towards the teachers who are doing the best they can.
Mhm.
And at the end, we're going to get this figured out. But honestly, 2 months of second grade was not that big of a deal. It
Mhm.
was a little bit different from my daughter, who was a senior in high school. We were trying to figure out how they were going to count credits and was she going to graduate and how are they going to handle all of that stuff. And then, of course, all of those important events at the end. But for me, I really did lean into compassion and empathy for people around me, understanding that um, although I took it as a sign or whatnot to um, once I knew everybody was safe to kind of ramp up what I was doing, I understood that it was a completely different situation for a lot of other people
Mhm.
where they were trying to get things done and they couldn't. There was all these different blocks in the way of what they were trying to do,
Oh yeah,
which was
especially
causing a
work
lot of
from home.
stress.
Especially
Yeah.
working from home because, at my office, like I have a whole different setup at the office versus what I have at the office, here at the house. I
Yeah.
got my office here at the house, my office, in another building. And it was two different setups. So I know for me, it was like, for me to actually be at home, I actually get more work done here at the house. I actually do. And I'm more comfortable, I'm more relaxed. I have all the amenities, all the resources right here. And whereas when I go into my other office, there's no distractions. Don't get me wrong. I have my own office. I got a huge office. I like the only person that really bothers me is the cleaning lady when she comes in to take out my trash or vacuum. So it's one of those things that I can go to the office and not really be bothered or see anybody else, because everybody has their own offices. And it's one of those things. But here, it's one of those things that I often have to think about, like you said, the empathetic part of that. There was other people that didn't have like good offices, good home offices. They didn't have computers, they didn't have printers, they didn't have all these things. So here it is, you're now at home, you're told to be at home, and now you're still expected to perform the same work at home as you did somewhere else, but yet maybe there was a lack of funding, maybe there was a lack of
Yeah.
resources. It took a while, especially for the schools to get kids computers. Well, great, you got a computer, but our household doesn't have internet. Now we have internet, but there was other households that did.
Yeah.
So now you got kids parking in the park, parents that have to go to work, or maybe they don't have to go to work, but yet they have to do work. But now they got to take their kid to a parking lot to get internet. And then guess what? The parent has to get work done. Now they're doing work in the parking lot because there's internet. So there was a whole different level of anxiety there with that.
Yeah, I think with our district, so we were fortunate that we had, um, you know, my daughter had a computer already that she had had for years and years, and my
Mhm.
middle son was given a hand me down before this all happened. But I think the one thing they were doing is our district has district leased iPads,
Mhm.
and so um, all of the kids were basically ordered to take their iPads home, and there was internet provided through the iPad. However, uh, the big city school district, they didn't have the same, like you said, the same amenities. These kids didn't have computers. It took them weeks to get laptops to the kids, and the internet was another story. Luckily, Comcast here was offering. Again, this was all catch up. It's not like any of this happened immediately. It took a while for this to get put into place.
Oh
But
yeah.
Comcast put something in place that gave free basic internet to, the school kids, so that they could, get online and do their schoolwork, and so parents could, get online and do their work. But yeah, I mean, there was also, I mean, so going into a completely new um, field industry myself, not only was I learning a bunch of new skills, but I was learning about the supply and demand in that industry. And that's how I ended up shifting a couple of times, pivoting a couple of times, because um, once it shifted to people were making masks at home, the suppliers jacked up the prices of all the supplies that you needed to make a basic cloth mask. And so
Mhm.
that was interesting, was trying to get a hold of those different materials, and which is how I ended up in kind of in the vintage sector. But I won't go into all of that. It was just, for me, it was a lot of adapt, like just quickly adapting to whatever the next obstacle was, not taking it personally, and knowing that I was not the only one going through this thing. It was just kind of, if we wanted to make it happen, this is what we needed to get done.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of the attitude, the mindset that helped me push through, and also helping people with things that I had. Like, I was listing stuff on eBay at that point, and uh, wasn't one of the people that was price gouging.
Mhm.
And so I got a lot of letters back from people and emails back from people saying thank you for not gouging, jacking the prices up on your stuff like a lot of the other sellers were
Mhm.
doing, trying to make things, unattainable or unreasonable. So
Yeah.
that felt good too.
I'm talking to, you know who I'm talking about, but I'm talking to somebody about that right now that's doing eBay stuff. And
Mm,
I'm like, man, you're undercharging. And because we got this concept called sweat equity, and you have to think about the sweat equity that goes in behind, you get on eBay and you undermine everybody charging $1.50 for something, but yet you're
well,
losing
yeah,
money because of a lot of this other stuff. And you got auctions. There's a lot to unpack with that. Different conversation for a different time. But
that's a little different. What I was doing was
yeah,
just not raising my prices to a
yeah,
point where they were unattainable. Like, I could have, like, I had things like baby items and
mhm,
thermometers and all this other stuff.
yeah.
It literally never dawned on me to jack the prices up on stuff until somebody messaged me and said, "Thank you for not jacking the prices up on your stuff. I really
Oh,
needed to get this item, and this is the only way I could get
yeah.
it," type of
Oh,
thing.
that was
So yeah,
awesome. So we just
but
spent like the last week doing spring cleaning in our house, and we had, oh my goodness, 7 boxes worth of stuff that we literally, like, somebody just came over to our house probably about an hour and a half ago and put all those boxes in his truck and drove off with it. So we just gave
nice.
7 boxes of stuff away to a family that needed it. Now,
Yeah, that's funny because I'm doing that on Monday. I've got the vets coming here to pick up stuff on Monday.
mhm. And we still got more stuff to go through. So I mean, I still have several boxes to go through. I mean, I got boxes I haven't even opened up in like, 10 or 15 years. And it's one of those things that I've just carried the boxes. I know what's in them. I just haven't opened the boxes up in so long. So it's one of those things, even that can cause stress and anxiety because you got these boxes. I've been carrying them around with me for years. I know it's in there. I know I'm looking for something. I know it's in a box, but yet I'll go buy another new thing knowing I have it in a box. So it's kind of one of those things to where I'm like, I look to the right of me and I'm staring at boxes that I have down here that I need to go through. And that causes anxiety. That causes stress. That I'm looking at that and it's like, man, I don't want to look through that box, but I need to go through that box. So how would you go through some of those things? Like, how would you recommend somebody that you have to do something, right? You know you have to do something, but yet you're sitting there staring at it and you're just struggling with it. You're just hitting a roadblock. What would be your advice to tell somebody to just get it done? Like, I know I just need to get it done. I know that's the easy answer, but how would you tell somebody to deal with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you're asking me how to tell somebody to go through boxes that they're hesitating going through, I'm not the one because I'm still doing that myself. I'm also spring cleaning, and I get stuck. Where I get stuck personally is, should I take the time to list this online on my eBay store, or should I just go ahead and donate, or are we going to need it again? And
Yeah.
that comes up for me. That's still some limiting stuff that I need to get over. That, childhood not having things that we needed, and then a couple of times now, so I packed up all of Jay's baby stuff and had it listed and tagged for consignment, and then found out that I was possibly pregnant with the youngest. I was like, oh crap, like we do actually need this stuff. Like it was, and it was like within a day or two time frame where that happened. And so I still have a little bit of that. It's not like overwhelming anxiety, but it twinges, like it'll come up. So for me, I just went through this. I'm going through this now. We have what's called the Vietnam Vets of America, and I'm sure that they're not just here in PA, but they have a donation truck, and I've researched them. They're legit. They're not a for-profit organization. They actually do help. They're a charity. And they come, you put the stuff out, they come, they pick it all up, they leave you a little slip that says, thank you for donating, and they take it away. And so it cuts out the part where you have to actually put it in your car and then remember to take it out of your car and take it to like a donation place. It cuts that part out. And you set a date with them. It's not like they're just driving around looking. Like you schedule an appointment basically for a specific day. So for me, I am not going to let these people show up and not have stuff set out. And like, so it's about setting the date, setting the attention, and then setting the date with the people that you're either going to have them pick up or you're going to drop off at the place where you're taking the stuff. I have this where I don't want to disappoint people. And when they give you like the form to fill out, it tells you like how many boxes or bags or items, etc. There's different categories and stuff you fill out. And so I'm not going to have these people drive to my house specifically and then find out that there's nothing there. Like but for me, in my mind, that is enough to make sure that I do what I say I'm going to do and put the stuff out there. A lot of people find that paralysis analysis is kind of like, what do I do with these things? And for that, really, and this is something that I'm working on myself, is practice making quicker decisions and have 3 boxes. So you're going to have like a donate, a toss, and a donate, toss, and then a keep bin. So like you go through your box and very quickly, okay, do I need this? No. Okay. Is it trash? Okay. Instead of sitting there and kind of ruminating over what the item is, what am I going to use it for? Can it be reused? That kind of thing. And so
I love that. I'm gonna put that into practice. I'm gonna set out, like, because I got another room over here. I can easily put 3 boxes or whatever right there and go through all the stuff that I have here and do exactly. So I'm gonna follow your advice. I'm gonna do that.
And you love to gamify everything, so you could literally set a timer and see how fast you can empty each box. Yeah. So
I love it. Hey, so switching gears, here's one of the things that I've kind of discovered, learned, or whatever over the last couple of years. And you really hit on kind of a key point here, and that's taking a break, but more importantly, distractions, like how you handle distractions. And here's what I kind of think. I truly believe that in the last couple of years, social media was really kind of a distraction to take people's mind off of being at home and being stuck with, family members, all day long and all this. So people really kind of use social media, use Netflix and chill as a distraction, used all these different things as distractions. Here's what we've discovered within the last couple of years. We've discovered that people have this real life versus comparison of others kind of syndrome, if you will. And that caused a lot of stress. that caused a lot of anxiety because it's like, why are you always on your phone? Why are you, there's this comparison thing. And then there's this, why are you not spending time with me? You're on, this all day long and this, that, and the other. And the interesting thing is that now that people at home are going back to work, social media is really kind of slowing down, engagement slowing down, views are lowering, interaction is lowering. So what are your thoughts about all that, especially, the real life versus, comparison to others, because we really kind of had no choice. Everybody's at home. What do? Do you play games? You have family time? Do you surf the internet? Do you do social media, TikTok, all this other crazy crap? Let's unpack that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's like a whole 5 different shows. But I wrote this, actually, I wrote this really great quote. I'm going to have to find it. It was exactly about that, though. And it was basically about comparison is okay when you're using it to elevate. So if you're looking at role models, you're looking at people that you aspire to be like, you're learning from people like Evan, who's also learning from lots of other people. He likes to talk. Evan is very passionate about, mentors and modeling success. And so when you're using it in that fashion, I think it's totally okay to scroll social media and find people who are doing the things you want to be doing and start to emulate in a way what they're doing to be successful. It doesn't mean to copycat them, but you can start to that's how I got through the hardest part of leaving all this medication behind and trying to find a way to manage what I was left with anxiety and depression. Was I had to find somebody who had already done the thing. Like, I didn't just make all this stuff up. Like, some of it I am now, like I'm crafting my own programs and whatnot. But in the very beginning, I had to find somebody who had successfully used tools to overcome, the paralyzing anxiety and the, crippling depression that I had dealt with. And so what you don't want to do is catch yourself in a trap where you're comparing people and you're basically, you're making yourself feel like a terrible person. Like, why am I not as good as that person? Why am I not as good as that? I'm not as thin as that. And she's much prettier than me. Like, all of these things that, we've done this, and this stuff was going on way before social media. I did a study in high school about this kind of stuff from regular traditional media when, kids in high school were looking through teenage magazines and whatnot. And so that's my take on that part of it, is when you find yourself comparing in a way that puts you in a negative light versus elevating you to something higher. Higher standards are okay as long as you're not putting yourself down in the process. Let's see, what else did you ask about? about not spending time with people. I mean, I think that a lot of what we saw, unfortunately, there's a lot of people who rush into relationships. They rush into moving in together. They rush into starting a life together. They don't really know each other that well as they thought they did. And then all of a sudden they're stuck in the same room in the same place for days on end, unable to go anywhere. And they start to find out all of these annoying things they don't like about each other.
Get it.
And unfortunately are not equipped to deal with, hey, you're doing things that I don't like, and I need you to change for me to feel better. And that's not how life works. Like, the only person we have control over is ourselves and our own responses, reactions to other people. And of course, unless somebody's doing something to you physically, and there's a couple of other exceptions, but I'm even teaching my kids this. Like, this does not give you a license to go around and be nasty to people. However, we are only responsible for ourselves and how we feel and what it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about habits and routines? So like for the last couple of years, let's shift gears into habits and routines, because in the last couple of years, once again, being at home, having the internet, social media, all these different things, getting tired of being in the same room or the same house as one another, not being able to go out, all these different things really it was a forcing function for people to have better habits or better routines. And I know for me, I 100% just locked in on a routine. I locked in on a habit and I didn't want to change that. And it caused me stress and anxiety if I broke that. Like, I have to start dinner at this time. I have to do this. Look, I'm at home all day long. What else am I going to do? I got a schedule, doggone it. And we're going to keep to that schedule. It's
Yeah.
one of those things because I like structure. But being, in the house, sometimes you don't really want that structure because you can cause stress and anxiety within your own house, within your own family, and this, that, and the other. So we kind of got on each other's nerves a little bit. It was kind of one of those things to where it was like, look, we're not gonna eat at this time. I'm not gonna eat with you then, or there's a couple of other little things that's going on with that. And it was like, we all found ourselves in different rooms because, we wanted our privacy. There was a lot going on with that. And I think that really caused a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of this, that, and the other, to where even having family time, it became a struggle.
Yeah, and I just want to note that there is a difference between stress and anxiety.
Mhm.
And in those situations, basically, it sounds like what was happening was um, you're already feeling stressed out because of what's going on, and then you become anxious knowing what's about to come up, which
Mhm.
is I'm feeling stressed because I want to keep this schedule and I need this schedule to feel good, and I know that this person's going to come and be like, well, I'm not following your schedule, like,
Uh-huh.
and then it causes a sense of anxiousness and anxiety because you're like, I don't, mostly because you don't want that conflict, right? And so in the back of our minds, that's what that really is. This is not what the other person is, doesn't necessarily want to do what we want to do. It's just we don't want to have that conflict with that person.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you
and
think it could
so
be a conflict of interest or something else?
I I think it sounds like to me that a lot of times people, when they get in really highly stressful situations or they're feeling really anxious, they do feel the need to control everything that's going on around them. And because they're not yet aware enough or have not yet learned the tools to understand that we have the ability to control how we feel, even though everything around us feels completely chaotic.
Mhm.
There are other people who thrive. I was one of them. I thrived in chaos for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And when things would calm down, I would start to panic because I'm like,
Yeah.
something really major is about to happen. If things are calm, something really bad's about to
Just the
happen.
calm before the storm.
Exactly, exactly. And so that was one of the biggest things I had to get over was knowing that calm was okay.
Yeah.
Calm was safe, quiet was safe. Um, but yeah, as far as your example, it sounds to me just like two different personality types when it comes to what do we do when things feel, chaotic or not in our control anymore, and different people are going to want to control different things.
Yeah.
And so what for you it was a schedule, this other person was probably like, I'm just trying to control my personal space, like
Mhm.
I don't want to be told what to do, it's got the whole head shake a head bob, like, I can just imagining it because yeah, I went through a lot of that with my one of my children, we'll just put it that way. um so you can't tell me what to do, and I don't want to be told what to do, basically is what it was, is it's like, well, you know
Yeah, I
so
love that. And we had, we switched things up. We changed a lot of different things up. We tried a few different things and this, that, and the other. And I think that's important because, in order to avoid stress or anxiety, sometimes breaking a routine or breaking a habit is just as important.
oh yeah.
Because it breaks up the monotony, it breaks up the boredom and this, that, and the other. So it's one of those things to where even though like me, I have a military background, I love structure, I love schedules, I love that. And when I don't have that, I have a sense of lost control. So you hit the nail on the head with that. But it's also one of those things to where I also thrive in chaos because during those chaotic moments, I get to
Mhm.
be in charge. I get to lead. I get to thrive. I get to do what it is that I've been trained to do, so to speak. But then that's where my wife reels me back in. It's like, we're not on a mission. This isn't a mission. We're not on a
Yeah.
mission. And it's like, well, I'm not on a mission. I'm just doing what I do. But it's like, I got that training that kicks in. I got that military background that kicks in. I got that thing that kicks in. So I have to differentiate some of that. It's like, you know what? I'm not in a combat zone. I'm not at work. I'm here at my house and I'm sitting here
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I was doing that until it was brought to my attention.
Yeah.
So that was causing stress, that was causing anxiety, and I wasn't even like paying attention to it. I was just doing what I do. But you also got to understand something. I'm used to being at work
Yeah.
around that. And that can
Yeah.
be quite chaotic at times. And it's one of those things to where I'm here, like it's quiet, it's normal. I got my own space. It's like, man, what do I do? Do I jump up and down or I run around the house and do a couple of laps? What do I do? So for me, man, like I had to learn how to slow down.
Yeah. Well, you and I were trained in completely different environments as far as the controlling in within the chaos. And you were literally trained, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were literally trained to control what was going on within the chaos. And so by doing that, you were able to like calm and keep people focused and keep people moving toward. Oh, how sweet!
My daughter just brought me these
I saw the
heart.
big old smile. That's so sweet. Is that candy
It's
or
yes, it's
cookies?
heart. So it's I don't know. It's like caramel.
Like
I don't know what it
taffy.
is. It's like peanut butter, I think, on there. So anyway, she took out this thing and did a heart shape out of three of them, and she just brought them to me. You saw
That's
me
super
smiling, didn't
sweet.
you?
I did. Oh yeah, that was a big old daddy smile.
Hold on for a second. Yep, that's peanut butter and what? Oh, that's apples and peanut butter. Oh, heart shaped apples with peanut butter.
That's so cool.
Thank you, Bunny. I got heart-shaped apples with peanut butter. Look at that.
That's super sweet.
That'll calm your stress right there.
Right?
I love that. Man, I love my
Yeah.
daughter. She is 100% thoughtful, man. I love it.
Yeah.
And no, and it's one of those things to where my wife, she doesn't stand for that. She's definitely like, oh, don't you bring that stuff in this house. It's kind of like, don't you bring that chaos and that stress and this that. I was like, but I wanna. It's kind of one of those things to where, when I was in the military, I would go like full speed ahead all day long, just rah, and then I come home and it's like, I have to learn how to cut that off. I have to learn how to turn that off and tune that down and be like, you know what? I had to take a break. I had to get a distraction. I had to breathe before I walked in the door. And
Yeah.
there was times where I would sit in my truck and I would just breathe. I would be like, you know what? I'm not taking this in the house. Not taking the
Yeah.
stress in there, not taking the anxiety. I'm not taking that in there in the house. And there's some people that will storm in their home and be like, man, what a day I had today. Today was blah, 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 rah, rah, rah,
Mm-hmm.
this and that and the other and whatever. And your family don't deserve that.
I'm very familiar with the raw. I want to rip everybody's face off.
Yeah.
Forgetting to decompress before walking in the house.
And, and at the end of that, it's like, man, I just want to vent. I just want to get it off my chest. I just want to do that. But once again, I had to learn, man, they don't deserve that.
Yeah, they're not equipped to handle that basically.
Yeah.
And I think we forget that sometimes that our
Mhm.
our significant others, our children, whatnot, are not our emotional dumping, emotional dumpsters. Like we don't get to, especially kids, we don't get to come in and just dump whatever it's going on or happened during the day. Because like if our kids are supposed to get up and go to work and deal with what we dealt with, then they would get up and go to work and do what we did. That's not their job. Their job is to be kids and experience things from a child's point of view.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I never ever did that to my kids. I definitely, back in the day before I had a grip on myself, would unfortunately let the rest of the day spill over when I got home because I didn't have those coping mechanisms and, um, calming techniques in place. I didn't know anything. I'm going to be honest. I went through therapy for 15 plus years and didn't even know they did this stuff with adults.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's just a little part of my story, which is why I was so damn determined when I got off that I was like, I've got to figure this out. Like, I can't be the only person dealing with these things. And they're teaching my kids cognitive behavioral therapy. Like, why the hell is adults are we not learning this? Well, I did end up finding out that this is a thing that they teach adults. It just wasn't being taught to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, all that being said, I agree with routines definitely have their place.
Mm-hmm.
And they can create calm and in chaos. They also help us get better sleep. They help us get out of the house on time in the mornings, or the evenings, or however you work. But I think what you were saying about the routine and the monotony, I think I believe it's also important to learn how to be flexible and adaptable. This is something that David Meltzer calls my superpower, which is the ability to adapt and overlap. And a lot of that came out of, we'll just say, some trauma and situations, but I was able to kind of turn it into a strength versus just a backwards coping mechanism, if you will. So you want to be able to stick to a routine and also have the ability to be flexible. And it's just like the rest of life. Like, you've got to have this kind of this balance. If you're let me say this, balance is one of those words. You want to strive for some type of balance in your life so that you're not, getting bored out of your mind, and you're not also stressing yourself out completely. So.
Yeah, I love it. So before we wind things down, I just want to touch on one more thing here, and that's, business and entrepreneurship and how that changed definitely over the last couple of years. And it caused a lot of stress and anxiety out there within the entrepreneur world. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of entrepreneurs that were successful and built businesses out of it. You being one of them, with the masks and this, that, and the other. And I know that you and I, we both built quite a few things. And I think that there was a lot of entrepreneurs out there that kind of created a lot of different things. Some of them just shut down completely. And I really, truly believe that even business and entrepreneurship even changed. And it's going to continue to change. It's going to continue to evolve. But it also caused a lot of stress and anxiety, because now we just see an overabundance of like a few things that are out there. Not a lot, but there's an overabundance of a few things. How do you think that's caused stress within the entrepreneur world, where there's like an overabundance in certain areas?
I'll be honest. I feel like this is just, it's kind of like the stock market or the housing market or business in general. Like, every so often things just get flipped too much one direction. And I am not going to pretend to be like a stock analyst or anything. I do have a financial background, and I have watched, seen the history of these things. And for me, it just really feels like another scale tipping, where we're going to see it go one way for a little while, and then things will eventually, it's like a pendulum. Like, the thing has to swing back the other direction at some point. You had a lot of people, a lot of young people who got very inspired to solve problems. That's what entrepreneurs do. And a lot of them, because we were all as a world, basically, we're facing the same problem. It makes sense that you're going to have a lot of people trying to solve the same problem and coming up with similar solutions. And really what it boils down to is just like any other day in business, when there's not a global pandemic happening, which is whoever executes the best is going to be the one that wins. And, that's why I'm not a millionaire mask maker. Like, there were people out there who had the equipment, who had the capital, who had all of these different things that I didn't have access to, who were able to jump and put those things into place and, mass produce these things, where I was at home making them by hand. Completely different market, completely different kind of group of people. But those people crushed it, and then they got out. Like, they're no longer making, tons of masks.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's the art of the exit kind of a thing. And man, for me, that I get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get the whole exit thing, but for me, I truly enjoy what I do. And I hope to be able to do some of these things, or maybe similar things, but in different capacities or different, different ideas, as some of these things that like you and I are working on, I'm hoping that some of them evolve into like, a different form of it, or a different shape of it, or a different, idea of it. And we just add to the catalog of like what we're doing, just in different ways. Because you've heard me say this before, different people do different things differently. Different people, do a lot of different things differently. I mean, I can twist that a few different ways, but man, I'm truly excited, because I really think that, as people are now going back to work, I know social media is changing, business is changing. Some of the people that really was resilient and resourceful over the last couple of years, they've either made it, making it or position themselves that once things do really, really fully go back to normal are going to be better positioned to succeed. So it's like, man, there's this stress and anxiety of like, even as an entrepreneur, it's like, why have I not made it yet? What am I doing wrong? How can I do this? It's like, I'm putting in all this work. I'm putting in all this action. I'm doing all these things, but it's like, excuse me, it's just not there. And I've seen a few entrepreneurs I've coached, excuse me. Man, I had to turn the volume down on that one. But it's those allergies kicking in, man. I've talked with a few entrepreneurs and they're just like pulling their hair out like, man, what do I do? Why can I not break through? Why can I not do this? Why? And you and I touched on a lot of that stuff. It comes down to consistency. It comes down to commitment. It comes down to habits. It comes down to routines. It comes down to not really comparing yourself to others, but understand that you are on a journey and you will achieve success in your own due time. But, don't ever quit because you don't really know how far you are towards achieving that success. You don't know how close you are to achieving that.
I think a big thing to put, sorry. I just want to say one more thing I want to add to that list is belief.
Yeah.
I truly, honestly believe myself. That's the one thing that I'm continuously working on is the belief that I not only I can do the thing, but I deserve to do the thing. And so yeah, I wanted to put that in there, that belief has a big part of it, because unfortunately, if you don't believe that you can do the thing, your actions are going to be a lot different than somebody else who does believe that they can do the thing. And whether that's different is in you're not doing the same things, or the intensity is different, or the consistency is different, or you allow yourself to get so far and then you're self-sabotaging. I know that I've done some of that myself in the past. So yeah, belief is a big one for me in that list.
I can relate to that, and there's a few things that I've done in the past to where it was like I had limiting beliefs. It's like I believe, but then there's these limiting beliefs that are also on the side as well too. So it's kind of one of those things to where, man, you can really be your own worst enemy in a lot of things, and you can really stress your own self out. You could really just get in your own way sometimes. So a lot of times it's like, okay, as entrepreneurs, as people, as parents, as teachers, whatever label you want to put on it, we touched on quite a few things here tonight. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can compare yourself to others as examples of what right looks like, and you can take action, and from that action you're going to get a result. If you've been around us and you've heard us on Clubhouse, you've heard me say this probably about 1,000 times in the last 9 months. You're going to take action, you're going to get a result. It could be big, small, positive or negative, but they are results. Modify, tweak, change, continue taking action. And the only thing you should really be comparing yourself is yourself. Be better tomorrow than you were today, and put within your toolkit skills, keep learning, keep growing. Bonnie, you've been a champion at doing that. Oh my goodness. You've been a rock star at putting tools within your toolkit, like way better than I am. I'm going to let you know that right now. You're like way better than I am at doing that. Man, if I would have been able to do the things that you've done in the time that you've done, oh my goodness, I don't know where I would be at this point. But I've done things at my pace. I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly taking courses. I'm doing things online. I'm doing a lot of, I'm learning from other people. And it's one of those things to where, man, there's opportunity out there for each and every one of you, and life can get in the way. You can get stressed. You can get anxious about different things. You can be like, why me? Why not me? How come this? And how come you could really just question a lot of different things. But I'm telling you, I love Bonnie's quote. She has an amazing quote. It's like, life happens, but don't let life get in the way of living, I believe is how it goes. I might be paraphrasing.
That's okay.
And it's one of those things that, man, I love it. So Bonnie, great show tonight. I just want to say thank you very much for providing your wisdom and your insight and everything. It truly has helped give me tips, tools, techniques, resources in which I can grow in this, that, and the other. So I just want to say thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your valuable insight. Great show tonight. What are your final thoughts?
So first of all, I want to say thank you for the wonderful compliment. And it made me think immediately that it's not necessarily that I don't think that I'm doing better than you. I think I'm just doing different things. My focus was in somewhere different. And you do a lot of different things. And I do probably more variety of things than the average person, but you definitely do a larger variety of things that I do in a particular day. And I made basically a promise to myself when I met David and had my first meeting with him that I was really going to focus on my health. And part of that is mental health. Because David told me flat out, like, you're not going to do any of these other things that you want to do until you get your health in order, because you could accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. Your health is going to continue to keep tripping you up. And so that's why it looks like, or it appears that I have, I'm not saying I haven't accomplished anything, but that's why it looks like I'm making so much progress in this one area. It's because I've got more focus and a smaller kind of bucket. And also because I finally learned to let the person who's good at the other things do the other freaking things, which is you. So it allows me to focus on the things that I'm really good at and what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, because I'm not trying to learn how to do all of the stuff you're already naturally good at and like to learn about, right? And so that's a big piece, because none of this would be the way it is today if you and I hadn't partnered up, because I was struggling with every single part of that. Like, there was just too much tech stuff for me to try to figure out to not be stressed out, to not be anxious, and to also be consistent with all of it. Like, there just wasn't it wasn't happening, which at all. That's why it was on hold. So all of that to say, I know we wanted to talk about some more about routines, and that's okay. I'm happy to do another show another time about that. But for me, it's really important, that consistency and those routines, but also allowing ourselves to be flexible, is really super important to helping calm and get rid of, I'm going to say, unnecessary anxiety. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that we as humans stress about and have anxiety about is within our control. And we do have the ability to eradicate that with some mindset shifts and some habit and routine changes. And so I'm going to leave that little cliffhanger. If anybody's got any questions, you know where to find me over there on Instagram. Happy to have, have a one-on-one conversation with anybody who's looking for more advice on that.
I love it. Bonnie, great show tonight. I always enjoy our conversations we have on Friday nights. And real quickly, before we close things down, I just want to bring everybody's attention to the I Am Unbreakable printout right here. So right here, Bonnie created an absolutely amazing printout, the I Am Unbreakable printout with the hashtag #MyUnbreakableStory. Right there on the screen, we have a link there for you, unbreakablestories.com/share. Here's what we want you to do. We want you to go to that link right there, and we want you to print out that printable and take a picture of yourself. Take a picture of yourself, share it across social media. And use the hashtag #MyUnbreakableStory. Tag us, Unbreakable Stories. So right there on that webpage, you'll see all of the details. All of our social media links are right there. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms. Take a picture, tag us, use the hashtag, and we will share everything. We've already had quite a few amazing friends share that they are unbreakable. The question is are you unbreakable too? Will you join us in the Unbreakable family by sharing that? We also have the Unbreakable Habits Challenge happening right now. We've already had about 30 people join us. Man, it is taking off. I'm telling you, we've got 30 people that has made a commitment to changing their mind, their body, their life, and to take action. We have 8 things that we want you to take action on each and every single day. It's super simple, super easy. You will change your life with these things. I've already noticed a big difference. And we just started this about 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And
it was almost 3. And I'm going to jump in there only because I know, because we decided to launch and I woke up the next morning and decided to quit smoking. And so I am going to start my habits challenge on Sunday.
I love it. I'm excited for you, and I really am. And I've been riding my bike and sharing reading, but that's only 2 parts of it. There's actually 8 habits that we want you to take action on. And I've only been sharing 2. So, it's one of those things that we have some things that we want you to take action on. Lexi, it doesn't end. The challenge does not end. It never ends. It's a never ending challenge because we want people to challenge themselves, challenge their lives. And it's one of those things to where there's no time limit on it, because you know what? We want you to continue taking action. We don't want people to just take action and quit or give up or only feel tied to a time limit, because we truly believe that once you get these habits deeply ingrained within your life, it will become a part of your life. And at that point, it won't be a challenge. Guess what it will be? It'll be a habit. And that's what we want you to have. We want you to have better habits instead of more goals and wishes and dreams. And man, I wish I was in shape, or man, I wish I could do this, or man, I wish I could do that. You know what? Join the Unbreakable Habits Challenge and make it a habit. And then you won't have to worry about when does it end. It'll be right there, a part of your life. And it won't.
It becomes a routine, right? And then it becomes completely integrated as part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am now I guess they could technically call it an ex-smoker, but I'm going to go with non-smoker because I'm not smoking. I like that title label, whatever you want to call it, better.
Yeah. It gives yourself a soft landing with how you say that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. And you know, and I'm the same way. You know, I use language to my advantage as well too sometimes, and it's one of those things that I truly get. But here in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to the Unbreakable Habits Challenge. So right there within the chat, I just dropped the link to the Unbreakable Habits Challenge. So if you want to join us on the Unbreakable Habits Challenge right there, just go ahead and tap on that link or click on that link right there. That will take you over to our website, unbreakablestories.com. And it's literally unbreakablestories.com/unbreakable-habits-challenge. So I don't like saying like all that long stuff together. But anyway, if you just go to our website, unbreakablestories.com, you'll see the menu item. It'll be the Unbreakable Habits Challenge. I got the link in the chat. Go ahead and join us, man. If you're ready to rock and roll, you're ready to change your mind, change your body, change your life. We have 8 things that we want you to take action on each and every single day. And man, it would be great to have you a part of our challenge. We got a private Facebook group set up to where you can share your success. You can share your action. You can share your videos or messages or whatever, and we will support you. Here's the thing, sharing those messages, 1, it's accountability because it shows that you took the action. 2, it provides inspiration for other people to want to take action, because as they see you taking action and see you sharing, it will inspire other people to want to take action as well too. And yeah, we've got 30 people that have signed up right now, and we've got people that have not posted. We've got people that have not participated. We've got people that have not done certain things. And you know, and I don't want to call anybody out or anything like that, but I also want to bring it to the attention. It's really one of those things to where it inspires other people to want to take action. And it holds people accountable. So I just want to make sure that, you know, if you're already a part of the Unbreakable Habits Challenge, go ahead and post, go ahead and share. And man, we're looking forward to cheering you on, seeing your success, seeing you change your mind, your body, your life. Join us in the Unbreakable Habits Challenge. Link is right there within the chat. Bonnie, absolutely great show. Is there anything else that you want to add before we close things down?
I'm just going to reiterate part of what you said. For people to get in there and post. If there's an issue, something's going on, send Terry or I a DM and we can help you along with that. But I think, especially for me, this is one of the things that I've struggled with in the past is I don't want to share what I'm struggling with necessarily publicly. I have my own reasons, more or less, because I don't like complaining. But I've learned that it's really good to state what you're struggling with so that other people can support you, because you're trying to make a change for the better for yourself. And so that's a completely different scenario. And that's what we're here to do, is to support you and help you, you know, get on track with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. Bonnie, great show tonight. As always, we look forward to seeing you next week, next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening. Once again, if you have not subscribed to our channel, make sure you smash on that subscribe button really hard. Get the imprint of subscribe, at least sub on your thumbprint right there if you're using a phone. Okay. And if you're using a keyboard and you're on your machine here, make sure that you have either enter or return, because my keyboard has enter return. Make sure you got that imprinted on your finger, your thumb, or or if you just really want to smash the super hard on your forehead, I don't know. Just anyway, smash that subscribe button. Get connected to us right here on YouTube. We go live every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're live on Clubhouse every single night at 6 p.m. Eastern or ish around there. We fluctuate from time to time depending on if there's family time or anything like that going on. Man, we're excited for you. We want you to be a part of the Unbreakable family. So head on over to our website. You will see all the many ways in which you can get connected with us. You can purchase a t-shirt, the Unbreakable t-shirt right here. I love it. Bonnie, these are absolutely amazing shirts, super comfortable. I love mine. And man, I share them off with the world whenever I can. And we've got the Unbreakable Habits Challenge. We've got the, if I can get my hands on it here, we've got the printout. We've got the printout right here. Make sure that you grab that printout. And man, so much more coming. We're working on some courses. We're working on an inner circle. We are working on all kinds of different things. And we want you to join the Unbreakable family. So if you want to be unbreakable, show the world you're unbreakable, head on over to our website, unbreakablestories.com, where you will see all of the details. Bonnie, thank you very much. Man, I love what we're doing. We're changing lives one story at a time, one thing at a time. And we are truly showing the world that not only we are unbreakable, but you are unbreakable as well, too. And we look forward to you joining us.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.